Shabbat shalom, everyone. When I first met Gordy, he was already a widower. He was 29 years old, and he was the starting scrum half for my club, the Montreal Irish rugby football team. He was on the men's reserves team, and I played on the women's premiership. He was a gifted athlete and really just an all-around good human being. If the Irish had menches, well, that would have been Gordy. On one particularly mud-soaked, miserable afternoon in April, it's Montreal. If you know just how springy it gets in April. At the closing minutes of practice, we heard Gord panic. His wedding band, which was the last token of his beloved late wife, had slipped off somewhere on the field. Now, I tell you, my friends, you have never seen chaos until you have seen 80 or so Canadian rugby players, men and women alike, 4 full teams, drop to their knees in the mud to go searching. They were all searching for this half-centimeter wide band of gold, and each of us just started to tear apart the field because we were bound up in a common need. Gordy had to get his ring back. When I found the ring, the victorious cry that came out from me and was echoed by my teammates and my friends, it wasn't about me. And it wasn't about anything other than making sure that Gordy got his ring back and that just a little piece of the broken world was made a little less broken. That ring and the search for it was our truma. It was the sincerest gift of our hearts. This week's parasha, as we've already heard a bit about, is Truma, and it throws us right into the nitty-gritty of making the Mishkan, our portable tabernacle that the Israelites built to carry the tablets from Sinai with them into the wilderness. Some commentators say the Mishkan was built on a mystical blueprint that mirrors the very design of creation itself. Others see it as a portable sort of first draft for the eventual temple in Jerusalem. But however you interpret it, the Mishkan is of profound significance. We're going to spend a lot of weeks reading about its construction, but the Torah gives us the most important detail right up front. It gives us the why. Ve'asu li mikdash ve'shachanti betocham. They shall make me a sanctuary, so I may dwell among them. So picture this scene. Moses gathers the Israelites in not long after they have left Egypt and just received the Torah at Sinai, and he calls them to bring gifts for the construction of the Mishkan. And they do. They bring a remarkable array of precious metals, of fabrics, animal skins, and gemstones, and all of this from people who had just fled 400 years of slavery in Egypt. But here's what's most striking. Moses does not demand these gifts of the Israelites. Rather, he frames them as gifts of the heart. Kol ish asher yidvenu libo. Everyone whose heart so moves them, that is what they give. What a shift in tone. Here, God isn't commanding mitzvot. God is asking for heartfelt offerings. The sequence of these verses even suggests a causal relationship. If you bring me gifts, specifically gifts of your heart, then I will dwell among you. It's as if God is saying, show me what's in your heart, and I will show you what it means to have my presence among you by placing myself into this Mishkan. This moment is beautiful. And it's a little confusing. After all, doesn't our liturgy teach us that God's presence is already everywhere? Melo kol haaretz kevodo. We just sang it a few minutes ago. The whole earth is full of God's glory. So why build the Mishkan? Well, we can look to Rashi, the great 11th century Torah commentator who was known for his ability to distill complex ideas into beautifully clear insights. Commenting on the verse, let them make me a sanctuary so that I may dwell among them, he notes that God's presence isn't meant to be confined to a building. Rather, the Mishkan serves as a means for the people to bring holiness into their own hearts and into their own lives. In other words, God isn't saying, build me a house so I have somewhere to live. God is saying, build something sacred together, and you'll discover that I have been with you all along. The Mishkan isn't about crafting a place for God, but a way for the people to recognize that God's presence is already within and around them. Just, they need to open their hearts to it. Of course, the idea of building sacred space for community and connection isn't unique to the Mishkan. Throughout Jewish history, we have continuously created places and spaces that reflect our values and our priorities. One that I find particularly fascinating as an example can be found in ancient Capernaum, which is in the Galil. There, in the ruins of a 4th century synagogue known as the White Synagogue, is something really remarkable. Etched into the stone floor, right there in the very center of the prayer space, is a child's game board. The small but profound detail tells us something essential. Our ancestors understood that children are not only welcome in our sacred spaces, but children are vital to them. That game board is a lasting reminder that for a community to thrive, our synagogues should not be places where children are merely tolerated. They should be places and need to be spaces where children feel they truly belong. The presence of this game board tells us that even in the most revered of places, there must be room for joy. There must be room for play. There needs to be room for the boundless energy of our upcoming generation. Holy Blossom has taken this wisdom to heart in so many ways. The Outreach and Next Gen Engagement Initiative has become a major part of an already deeply thoughtful approach to the way we support our future generations. The Truma membership for young families is another vital part of this effort. It ensures that families feel welcomed, valued, and empowered to shape the community as they raise their children here at Holy Blossom. Just like the game board in the middle of the floor, which told children, we want you and we need you here, we are finding ways to make that clear to this generation of Jewish parents and their children. These families give truma. They give gifts of their heart to our congregation, but they also are our truma. They are the living gift of a thriving Jewish future. These families come from all walks of life, but they are united in their deep commitment to our community. Some are multi-generational members, like the family that has proudly brought 4 generations to our Totten Family Shabbat, ensuring that their children and their grandchildren grow up immersed in Jewish life. And that experience has actually meant so much to them that this family is now sponsoring Tot Shabbat, making it possible for young families to gather in song, prayer, and reap in Jewish joy all year round. Another Truma member found their way to Holy Blossom as a single parent, just seeking a space where their child could connect Jewishly. But what began as a way to nurture their child's identity became something more. A profound sense of belonging. This parent who once walked in unsure of what they would find now is a regular at tefillah and in our adult learning classes, is generous in volunteering their time, and is even taking an active leadership role in the prayer life of the shul. And then there are Truma members who still feel deeply connected to their Yad cohort, to their fellow young professionals. Just because you have children doesn't mean you stop needing a social life. From personal experience, I can say that community actually becomes all the more essential. So one Truma member recently helped co-write our Purim spiel, working alongside other young professionals to create something that is going to bring us all some much-needed laughter later this month. Trust me, you're not going to want to miss this Purim. But these are just a few stories. They are a few stories amongst countless others that show how our young families are enriching and enlivening our community, not only through tzedakah and volunteerism, but through the sheer energy that they are bringing to our community. The experiences of unbridled Jewish joy that these children are having, whispering in a goat's ear on Yom Kippur, belting out Debbie Friedman's Havdalah in their pajamas as they run around the middle of the atrium. These moments are testaments to the life and to the love that fill this space. These moments are modern truma. They are offerings of love. These are among the many Holy Blossom experiences that reinforce what I know in my heart to be true. We are making room for God to dwell here. I often think back to that rainy rugby practice, to that moment where we found the ring. Not because of what was lost, but because of what was revealed. In that moment, we saw what true community looks like. It's the kind of belonging that drives people to dig through the mud for a tiny band of gold because it might mend someone else's broken heart. That, too, is what the Israelites built in the wilderness, and it's what we continue to build here at Holy Blossom. Our Truma families, our young professionals, our multi-generational members, all of us are ensuring that no one is left searching alone, that no one feels disconnected, that no piece of our shared story goes missing. And that is where holiness dwells. Let me close with just one more story. One Truma family shared with me that they actually weren't sold on us yet. They had been shul shopping with a lot of enthusiasm, struggling to decide where to put down roots. But one day, as they were driving up Bathurst Street and they passed Holy Blossom, they heard their 3-year-old exclaim excitedly from the back seat, "Hey, that's my Shabbat Shalom place!" And just like that, they knew their decision had been made. Ashreinu, ma tov chelkenu, uma na'im goralenu, uma yafa yerushatenu. How fortunate are we? How good is our portion? How pleasant our destiny? How beautiful our inheritance? What an incredible treasure we have here at Holy Blossom. Despite the challenges that the world keeps throwing at us, we are here. And we are building a Jewish life and Jewish future that is strong, that is vibrant and enduring. We are raising the next generation with song and with laughter, with learning and love, with tradition and innovation. May we continue to build, to give, and to create spaces of holiness, not just within these walls, but within one another. Because when we do, God does not just dwell among us, God dwells within us. Shabbat Shalom.